So, here's the thing. If you asked me a few years ago whether the US and China were heading toward a new Cold War, I would have probably shrugged it off. But now, after everything that's happened, I can't help but wonder what the hell is going on.
It started with Trump, right? He banned Huawei, slapped tariffs on aluminum, basically shut down China's access to key technologies. But that's just the beginning. Then Biden comes into office and instead of backing down, he doubles down. Microchips, gone. It's like saying to China, we're not just competing anymore. We're stopping you from growing, from advancing. And honestly, why? It's not like they're going to invade Taiwan. Hasn't that been the same story since the 50s? No, it's bigger than that. What if the real reason the real war is all about something we don't even see? Could it be that China is building something that could break the US dollar's grip on the world?
I'm sitting here thinking about the past few years and trying to make sense of everything that's been happening between the US and China. If you'd asked me a few years ago whether we were heading toward a new Cold War,
I probably would have brushed it off. I mean, come on, Cold War, that's ancient history, right? But now, after everything that's transpired between Trump's moves and Biden's continuation of the pressure, I'm starting to see things differently. The more I think about it, the more it seems like we're already in it. It all started with Trump. I don't know if I can even call it a surprise, given the guy's style. But what really got to me was when he banned Huawei. That was just the beginning. He didn't just stop there, he went after other Chinese tech companies, banning them from operating in the United States. And it didn't stop with tech companies either. There were tariffs slapped on aluminum and other goods. But what did it all mean? To me, it was like America was sending a very clear message. We'll do whatever it takes to prevent China from advancing. It was as if we were telling them, you'll never catch up to us. We'll make sure of it.
I remember thinking, why? Why would we do this? The world's been moving toward more globalization, more integration of markets and economies, and here we were. Taking a step back, the rhetoric around the whole thing was always Taiwan, right?
Oh, China wants to invade Taiwan, they said. But come on, they've been saying that for decades, and it's always been the same song and dance. Taiwan's always been a point of tension, but is that really the reason we're picking a fight? I don't buy it. And then Biden takes office. Now you'd think maybe there'd be a shift in policy, right? That's what I thought. You know, a new president might see the long-term implications and dial it back. But nope, instead he doubles down. He takes it even further. Bans sales of advanced microchips to China. Microchips, guys, that's like telling a country we're not just stopping you from competing with us in tech. We're going to make sure you don't have the tools to even think about catching up. I remember reading about it, and I thought to myself, wait, this is an economic declaration of war. And I mean that. What else could it be? When you block a country's access to the core building blocks of their technological future advanced microchips, for example, it's like you're saying, you're not allowed to grow anymore.
And then the more I thought about it, the more I started wondering, why are we doing this? Why does it feel like such a drastic move? It doesn't make sense to me. Sure, some people will tell you it's about protecting intellectual property.
But it's more than that. It's deeper. It's almost as if we're trying to prevent something much bigger from happening. But what could it be? I mean, look at China's rise over the last decade. It's undeniable. They've built some of the most powerful tech companies in the world, companies that, if you're being honest, have begun to rival or even surpass their American counterparts. If you think about it, there's no European competitor to Google, Amazon, or Facebook. We're watching a new type of global power emerge, and it's centered in China. And you know what? That's what I think scares the hell out of America. Think about it. China has something the West doesn't, a whole new type of capital that's been emerging over the last decade. I'm talking about what I call cloud capital. You know, we've been seeing the rise of platforms that aren't just about making money through traditional means. These platforms don't just operate in the usual sense, they're fundamentally changing the way we think about power and control in the digital age.
You can't talk about this without bringing up WeChat. It's not just a messaging app. It's not just a social media platform. It's a financial system, an e-commerce system, an entertainment system, all rolled into one.
WeChat allows people to do everything from sending money globally for free, and I'm talking zero fees here, to booking a taxi, to watching movies, to ordering food. And all of this is done seamlessly within one app. The West doesn't have anything like this, not even close. You can't even begin to compare it to anything we have in the United States, Europe, or anywhere else. It's a complete ecosystem. Imagine a world where you can do everything in one place. That's the future. And China's already there. Now think about the global impact of that. For decades, the US has held the keys to the global financial system. The dollar, the payment systems, all of it. You can't make a transaction, whether it's a business deal, a real estate purchase, or just buying a product from another country without running it through the US system. And let's not forget about the Federal Reserve. The US has had a monopoly on global transactions. But here comes China with WeChat and something even more powerful, their digital currency. If you're a global capitalist, a billionaire, or even just a country with a lot of money, you know that you need to move your wealth in dollars. That's how the system works. But with China's digital currency, things could change. And that's where the real danger lies for the United States.
Think about it. If the Chinese digital currency takes off, it could threaten the dollar's supremacy. And that, my friends, is where the real war is happening. It's not about Taiwan. It's not about some silly tech rivalry.
It's about something much bigger, the very future of money. The US has been printing money like it's going out of style. Sure, we're growing, but we're also in debt like never before. The trade deficit is massive. And how are we able to keep this machine running? Simple. The dollar is the world's reserve currency. Everyone has to use it. If you want to buy oil, if you want to buy goods, you have to use dollars. That gives the US a unique power. But what happens when China starts offering an alternative? What happens when global transactions can be done in digital yuan? The US doesn't want to find out, and that's why they're doing everything they can to stop China's rise. But there's more. Have you ever stopped to think about how the US has been able to maintain its dominance over the global financial system for so long? It's not just because of military power or economic might, it's because of the dollar. The US prints the world's currency. When you sell goods, you do it in dollars. When you make investments, it's in dollars. But China is slowly and methodically building a system that could undermine that power. And the US sees this.
I can't help but wonder, though, why is America so determined to fight this? Why not just let China grow? The US has always prided itself on innovation, on leading the way, but now it seems like it's afraid of China overtaking it.
So what do? We block them. We block them at every turn, from tariffs to tech bans to restrictions on microchips. It's all about stopping China from advancing in ways we don't understand. It's funny, really. When you think about it, it's not even about the tech anymore. It's about control. Who controls the future of technology? Who controls the future of finance? Because whoever controls those things controls the world. And right now, China is moving closer and closer to taking that control. And the US, well, it's trying desperately to keep it. But here's the thing, you can't hold on to something forever. Change is coming, whether we like it or not. So as I sit here thinking about it all, I can't help but feel a little bit of dread. The future is in the balance. And what we're seeing today with all this talk of Cold Wars and trade wars is just the beginning. The world is changing, and it's changing fast. The question is, what side are we on? Are we going to embrace the future, or are we going to keep fighting a battle that's already been won? The answer, my friends, will shape the next few decades.
I've been thinking a lot lately about the direction things are going. The more I reflect on it, the clearer it becomes we're at a crossroads, a defining moment in history. And the future, it's not just uncertain,
It's being shaped right now, in ways most people don't even fully understand. I'm talking about the geopolitical chessboard, the economy, technology, everything. It's easy to think of the conflict between the US and China as some isolated event, a momentary tension in an otherwise stable system. But the reality is, this isn't just about trade wars or tech bans, it's about power. It's about control. And it's about control over what matters most, what drives everything in the modern world, data and money. They go hand in hand. For years, the US has had the advantage in both. We've controlled the global financial system with the dollar, and we've led in technological innovation. Our financial institutions, the Federal Reserve, Wall Street, they all set the tone for the rest of the world. But now China is catching up. They're not just playing the same game, they're changing the rules. And I think that's what scares everyone. China isn't just competing for the title of global superpower. They're reimagining the system itself. Take their digital yuan, for example. It's not just a currency, it's a tool, a weapon. With it, China can bypass the traditional banking system, avoid the stranglehold of Western sanctions, and reshape global trade. If the yuan starts replacing the dollar in international transactions, the US will lose its edge. It will lose its position as the world's reserve currency, and that's no small thing.